everyone. Welcome back to another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger, and with me is Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today we're here to talk about something fun and adventurous with maximum effort. And that is the new, exciting, finally here, oft delayed, but also exciting Deadpool and Wolverine.
Deadpool and Wolverine. We literally just got out of the theaters, and it's opening weekend. It's a Friday, and we're going to release this on the Monday. So this is going to be very spoiler heavy. And we don't typically release episodes where it's that quick of a turnaround, but we were just super excited about this, and we figured, you know what? Why not? The world deserves this. Let's freaking go. Going into this movie, a lot of hype around it, a lot of headlines, a lot of spoilers. What were your expectations going into this movie? Give us your thoughts.
I think this is the most excited I've been to see a Marvel movie in a while, right? Because it just hasn't been a good run lately, right? And they haven't hit the characters that we really want to see. So this was exciting for me to get out there. My wife went with me. We expended babysitting capital, like it was full on. Let's go. Sad day when we got there. They didn't have the offensively inappropriate popcorn bucket for me to buy, but so there's that. What about you? Did you
So
wear all of your Deadpool stuff at once?
I didn't wear everything all at once. I did have this t-shirt on, I did have this hat on, and I had that hoodie on. My son wore my jersey, and my wife wore my Wolverine shirt that I just recently bought, and my youngest had a Wolverine shirt on. So we were fully representative of the Fox Fox X-Men universe, and it was a good time. But I didn't get the X-rated or maybe even R-rated popcorn bucket. I just got this little bad boy, and this one's pretty sweet. Luckily, my wife got it before we went to see the movie, and we were able to get it. And so, for all that don't know, we've been immortalized in the Funko Pop world. So we have our own Funko Pop. But
Look it up.
excuse me, Mark, I'm just parched right now. Let me
Oh.
just take a sip.
Oh, look at you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just needed to take a sip from this Deadpool and Wolverine cup from Cinemark movie theaters. Thank you very much, Cinemark, for bringing back free refills because you are helping me quench my thirst for this podcast.
Hey, does Cinemark use a real plastic straw?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, that's good on Cinemark. AMC, when I got my refill, I got one sip and the straw shattered into multiple pieces. Now my refill is in this metal tumbler, keeping ice well. But yeah, the straw shattered into a million pieces.
Yeah.
Just trash. Come on, AMC, do better. No popcorn buckets and garbage straws.
And those plastic straws, are they like really hurting anyone? Are they? I don't know. Audience, tell us. You tell us because I just recently came back from Ireland. They all use paper straws, and I get my full dose of fiber with every drink, with every small drink that they have in Ireland because the straw just disintegrates in my drink and then I just drink it. So I get my fiber. But anyways, expectations going in very, very high for me. Super excited about it. I bought these tickets the day that pre-sale was available, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to be in town. I just told my wife, like, hey, might not be in town for this, but I'm going to buy these tickets so we can go opening weekend. Super excited. In regards to spoilers, typically in the previous movies, I have pretty much consumed all the trailers, at the very least, all the trailers. And then, of course, I'll do some deep diving into seeing, what some of the cameos are in previous movies. I stayed pretty clear besides the first trailer of this movie. I was dodging some bullets because as soon as people saw this movie, it was up. Little clips of it were up on TikTok and everything. And I'm just like dodging things left and right. I didn't know what was real. I didn't know what was fake. I made it. We saw the movie, and now we can talk about it and spoil it for someone else as long as they are stupid enough to click on our links. So that's where I'm at for this.
Unless we absolutely barrage their socials, there's that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's that.
Could.
But I will say, I was spoiler free for this as well, and staying off of off of social the last few days. Yeah, there was so much hype for this. I did watch the Hot Ones with Ryan Reynolds and
I
Hugh
just did
Jackman,
that today.
which
Yep,
was
I saw it
entertaining.
right before.
I saw some of their press, but I didn't watch any of those. Um, because I wanted to be like excited about this. I wish I would have watched the other two Deadpool leading up to it. Not that I would have like remembered or found any Easter eggs. I got all of that. It's just I think that I forgot the timbre of a Deadpool movie. And that might have hurt me going into this a little bit.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. So you don't remember all the F-bombs, the vulgarity,
No,
the
the
childish dick
vulgarities and stuff,
jokes.
like bring it on. I understand the stickiness of Van Wilder, the superhero here, right? I get that portion of it. The plot devices or the way that Ryan's approached these in the past, it was not fully on the click. I think my expectations for some sort of plot or something were, I don't know. I was a little I wasn't ready for the structure.
The only thing that I would say for prep for this was letting them cook and enjoying the dish that they created. Because I felt like there was a little bit of hesitation because I'm sure I'm not alone in this. I'm sure a lot of people across the world thought this, but like, oh, a Disney Deadpool movie? They're gonna water this one down. That's what I thought that they might do. But after you saw like that first trailer when he's talking about pegging, I was thinking like, oh my gosh, yeah, they're putting this in the trailer. It's gonna be pretty spot on with the Deadpool humor, or at least, the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool humor. So I was into it. What about you? Any hesitation about Disney kind of, Disney putting their hands on it and Marvel kind of almost diluting what Deadpool could or should be?
I think that they just were like, okay, we have no Marvel movies that are coming out that are hyped. We have no Star Wars movies that are coming out that are hyped. Everything's like a retread or a remake. Y'all have people want this. They want a Marvel. Let's go. Like I can't think of an upcoming Marvel movie that I'm like woo for. Right? I'll go see the Cap movie. I will. I'm going in with bated breath and like sad expectations that there'll be a Cat movie I don't like, because there's not a Russo involved in it. They're going back to the well with the Russos apparently for some of those Avengers movies coming up, right? Which gets me back excited. But lately, I think that Disney's just like, please do a good job, please.
I did have some hesitation on the director, and I think I may have mentioned it on a previous episode, or at least a previous discussion that we had with each other. But Sean Levy, the director, and the only reason I had this hesitation is because I was watching a family dinner movie, and it was Agent Cody Banks, I think. Or wait, no, 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 it wasn't Cody Banks. It was the other one with Amanda Bynes and Frankie Muniz.
The liar
Gosh.
one where they dye what you call it blue
Yeah, 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 yeah. Is it Big Fat Liar? Is that what it is, or
could
something
be
like that?
something like that.
Whatever. A movie with Malcolm in the Middle and Amanda Bynes, directed by Sean Levy, very just 90s in tone. And I was just like, this is the guy that's directing Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh no. Like, can we get back like David Leitch or someone that had their hands on it before? That's where I was a little bit concerned. But
I think you had the person who had their hands on it before in Ryan Reynolds, right?
yeah,
I think that Ryan Reynolds' influence over this film and influence over the Deadpool movies in general is so heavily felt.
agreed, agreed. But I will talk a little bit about some of my critiques or at least observations on Sean Levy and where this movie was and where I think it could have gone. But
Ooh,
yeah, so let's just dive right in. We're fresh off the movie. There's a lot of things that there's so much. First off, there's so much in this movie. Are you going to see it again?
I kind of have. I don't know if I'm going to go to the theater to see it again.
Okay, that was my that I should have specified. Like, are you going to see it again, like in the theater?
I figured that's what you were asking. I don't have a desire to go see it in the theater again. I need to watch it again. I'm not like chomping at the bit to watch it again.
Okay, fair enough. We'll save a little bit more of that elaboration for the end of the episode, but um, let's just talk about the beginning of it. We get that typical Deadpool narration of everything. Um, and right off the bat, we kind of get hit with a lot of violent, brutal, over the top violence, and some would say it's gore. What were your thoughts on that? And was
On the
it a godsend, or was it like, oh, what am I watching here?
on the grave robbing part, I was surprised they went straight at Logan. I thought it was going to go a different way to open. Was it hilarious that he just decided to use all of Wolverine's bones to kill a bunch of TVA agents? It was funny. It absolutely was. I don't know that it was eloquently done after that. It was a cool scene in and of itself, but a lot of my problems with this movie have to do with flow and story, which I don't think were high on the priority list as it was being built.
So it's funny that you say that because Deadpool 2 started off the same way. And if I'm not mistaken, Deadpool 1 did have like a flash forward, flashback
It
type of
did.
thing.
It did. And I remember Deadpool 1's working. I remember not absolutely loving Deadpool 2. And that's why I said earlier, like, I wish I would have revisited to adjust expectations a little bit. And this is a direct result of the strike and the low quality Marvel stuff that's come out and the lack of Star Wars stuff that's come out. Like, just being excited to go into a theater that has people in it, right? That you're going to be able to enjoy a movie with. By the way, I had a shit crowd in mind. There was no, my wife laughed louder than
Uh,
the entire crowd the whole time. And there were like a
uh,
good amount of people there. It pissed me off. But
that's disappointing, isn't
it
it?
is. I'm just like, ugh. When are we getting back to the pre-COVID cheers and excitement in the theater? I mean, we got to get good movies to get that, but in general, right? Like,
So my crowd laughed quite a bit. I
oh
was
yeah,
the only one to like. I am the only one that will do like a yeah, and so I bet you can guess what scene that I was like yeah, like really loud in the theater.
yeah.
But I think we know when we'll talk about the cameos. But yeah, that like right off the beginning, I was I'm all for some good old fashioned violence, blood flying everywhere. The only thing that was kind of the nerd in me, and the hypocrisy is strong because I would normally tell other people just like chill out, dude. This is a comic book movie. Relax. But it's breaking the comic book rules of Wolverine's skeleton. So that's the only thing. Like the first thing he does is break one of Wolverine's ribs and use it as like a little claw, right? And so I'm like, Deadpool can't do that. Well, why is this happening right now? And the first thing that he does is not possible.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did you feel like that at all throughout that little bit, or were you
I
just
I
like, I'm having fun?
I was like, why are these bones staying together? Why are the tendons intact as he's swinging them? Okay, whatever. It's funny. And then when he wears the claws like gloves, that's when I was just like, whatever. It's just funny. Let's just let it be funny.
I thought that was cool, but I the nerd in me could not get over the fact like Deadpool can't break his ribs like that. It's unbreakable, virtually indestructible. But
Yeah, and I also am like, can Deadpool throw things as fast as a bullet? I wasn't aware that he was super strong in that manner.
I mean, one could assume that his regeneration has given him some degree of strength, but
It's like funky butt loving, and he's right at it, like rookie of the
yeah,
year. He
I'm
fell
okay
weird
with
once, and he's whipping it.
that. That's fine. I didn't, that's fine to me because they never really completely flesh out his powers in the previous movies, but what they did flesh out is how indestructible Wolverine was. So
Yeah,
I got over it, but I still, if I'm gonna nitpick, and why not? Why not nitpick this? Because we enjoy the content anyways, and to stay true and faithful to any of the comic nerds out there and purists, like we might as well throw that out because people are gonna think about it. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that thought about it in the theaters, but We're gonna progress forward. It's not Martha. It's not gonna Martha me. It's just something that I noticed. But what about the action overall? So did you like the action in that first scene, but also the overall movie? Curious to what your thoughts are.
The action was interesting. We've been watching a lot of things that are very martial arts and technical action heavy lately, and in the John Wicks we've watched, and just some of those other films we've done recently. And I definitely thought that this movie over indexed on the fight scenes. The middle was squishy for me because it was like just a constant fight as opposed to like a reason or a purpose for the journey. It was just like
Like,
we're fighting, we're
are you
fighting.
talking about the car scene where they're fighting for hours?
The Mad Max scene. Yeah, I want to take a nap in that
Oh,
because I'm
okay.
just like, why are we doing this?
I mean, there wasn't that much of a fight with them, was there?
I mean, it just kept going from there. Like it didn't stop until I
Oh,
don't know, like
you're just talking about like the action fight scenes in
the
general.
middle of the movie. The middle of the movie for me was a little squish.
Okay.
After all the cameos were installed, it's like we went to this big giant battle. We got the cameos in, and then we did more battle. So the initial Deadpool and Wolverine fight I thought was really great. And some of the action in the in between jumping scenes was fun. But I don't know. You're the action guy, though. You're the one who loves this, breathes it. It's the only kind of movies you love. What do you think?
You threw it out there. I'm gonna try and be as objective as possible on this, but it's not John Wick, right? I think we could fairly assess that it's not John Wick and won't have the degree of accuracy, the degree of cleanliness in the execution, but it was a fun comic book romp when it came to action. Definitely better than, I would say Man of Steel, right? So like that's something that was just ridiculous. Like let's plow each other through buildings and fight for miles on end. Like at least it wasn't that. It wasn't so CGI heavy that it was just ridiculous. But what it did have is a lot of shortcuts, a lot of kind of jumbled up group actions. Like when the whole, well, we'll talk about the cameos, but like the fight at Ant-Man's body with
Yeah.
everybody, it was so quick, and I was thinking like, oh no, they're not gonna do the cameos justice, which we'll get into in a
Yeah. They're
second.
not
So that's what.
resolving anything. There's no journey for each character. They're just like, look at we got a thing and everybody's
Oh
here.
no, I could give a shit about journeys. Like who cares about that? I'm talking about just the cleanliness of shooting the action and making it presentable on camera. A lot of it was okay. Some of it was just like, this is like trying to make an actor who can't fight or like do their own stunts, and this is the reason why they're doing such quick scenes or quick cuts, and so that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm not bashing this right now. I'm just saying that there was some things that I noticed that I was like, oh, Sean Levy is not going to be that guy to direct awesome action, and some may say that disagree, like, oh, like the other movies were freaking badass. Like, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about this one. And the only thing I can think of is the music video movie that he made with Amanda Bynes and Malcolm in the Middle. So I was like, this is not his forte. So I was almost giving him a pass that, like, hey, you're making a Deadpool Wolverine movie. I'm okay with this action not being super clean because it's not your forte. So I don't know if that's just the Marvel fan in me that's just like, okay, Sean Levy, we'll let you have this one, or whoever the choreographer was, which I don't know, but yeah, I'm not hating it, but also I'm not absolutely in love with it either. Like the blood and gore and violence of them definitely made up for some of that.
It's like they got Tarantino to come in and do the blood. It was
Yeah,
pretty redonkulous. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that the eloquence wasn't the best per se in the action, but I don't know. There are certain superhero movies I think that do large group fight scenes well, like Civil War, the airport scene. I thought worked because you got a little bit of the what was going on in each individual fight as opposed to just a large group like mess of shit, which
Yeah.
is what I felt in this.
I will say it was kind of giving me a little bit of notes of X-Men The Last Stand, that final group battle.
Yeah, that
At
was also kind
times.
of messy.
At times, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't all messy, but at times it was just like, this is just this one big orgy of stunt men and stunt women just doing their thing. And yeah, quick cuts, quick cuts.
Yeah.
But hey, let's talk about what we didn't think anything of, but we were kind of curious as to how this was going to happen, the plot. Did you buy the Wolverine arc and the Deadpool arc? You know, Deadpool getting rejected by the Avengers, which, by the way, I don't know if that really fits in the timeline of what I'm thinking. So I'm still kind of confused by that.
Say that again.
The overall timeline of when, so he went to go see them in 2018 and or well he went to go see Happy 2018, the Avengers, and they
Yeah.
rejected him, or he got rejected by Happy.
Yeah, that was
I don't
pre end game. Like
pre Endgame, but
pre
also at the
Infinity
same
War.
time not in the same timeline, which I that's what I don't understand. You've got 616 that Deadpool was there, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
it goes to Deadpool of what was it,
10 something. Yeah.
115 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of lost by that. So is it just because he traveled through different timelines or what?
Well, I think Deadpool wasn't 616. Deadpool occurred in 1015. There wasn't a 616 Deadpool.
So he just went there though. That's what I don't understand.
No, he didn't. There was
He
still
was
Iron Man in 1015.
no. It said Earth 616 and Deadpool was interviewing with Happy.
Huh.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that I still don't understand that. I'm assuming it's because he went through different timelines and that's what happened. So that's still something I'm not triggered by it. I just don't know, and I'll do the research, but I'm sure it's not a clean explanation as to what that
yeah,
is
yeah.
because I think that's a plot hole.
After the opening cadaver fight, they did the whole exposition on the front end, and we don't know why he stopped being Deadpool and went to work at Walmart essentially, right? We don't know
Hey,
what the
selling cars is a
yeah whatever
reputable.
CarMax, whatever. We don't know what that journey was other than you know being rejected by the Avengers. We don't know why he stopped doing all of that. We just didn't get a lot there. We got him stapling on a toupee and trying to be a regular person, which in and of itself is funny, right? But instead of story, we got like some comedic pieces, and then we're moving on right along
Yeah.
to the
Is that
TVA.
bothering you?
That's one of the things about this. Like in a Deadpool movie, that just is the thing. I went into this with an expectation above the Deadpool standard, more of like the really great Marvel movie standard. This is still a good movie, but it lacks the story discipline that I really enjoy.
Did you like the I know I did. Did you like the almost comic book reference type of dialogue coming from Wade when they were talking about the big bad from Loki? It's like, "Oh, do you have a hard time remembering Loki season 1 episode 5?" Like it's almost just like plugged out of a comic book where they have those little side notes of like, "Hey, in case you didn't read the 9 million issues that are out there, this one is in Spider-Man 27." Like he does a comic book reference right there. Are you cool with that because it's a Deadpool movie, or are you just like, wait, is he being serious right now, or do you not remember like the Loki season?
I think that we accepted the fact that this movie was going to be MCU adjacent and not ever referenced again from an MCU perspective. So I was okay with it. I like that that's a Deadpool thing. I love the fourth wall breaking. I always have. Do it with purpose, please.
So what about the purpose of Wolverine and you almost feel bad for him and being the worst of the Wolverines? Did
I'm
you
tr-
buy that as an arc?
I'm still trying to figure out why he was the worst of the Wolverines. Like, don't throw away the line. Let us see the trauma. You
Do you
know.
need to see all the X-Men died?
But so me and my wife were fighting about this. Did they die because he just like took a vacation and came back and they were dead, or did he kill them all?
No, he went to the bar, didn't want to hang out with him, and then they died.
But then
That was his
he did a lot of
explanation.
killing, right? After
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Yep.
that's what I thought. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, oh, I just got drunk and they all died.
I mean, I can see your point. When you say it like that, yes. But can you not understand his rampage afterwards?
I understand he did the Ronin thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But
Okay. So you understand it. There's no problem.
I I understand it. I didn't say it was a good like it's just like that that's outside of the character, regardless of where the character's at. Right. I do love all of the different Wolverines they gave us, from Short King Wolverine to
Oh,
Age of
hilarious.
Apocalypse Wolverine to Crucified Wolverine, to
Ah,
brown
Cavalrine.
suit, Wolverine with a Hulk cameo
Yeah.
in Reflections. Like I was like,
Cavalrine was badass though. It was
Cavalrine
like
was funny.
seeing him in that short 15 seconds, sign me up for Cavalrine because I thought he did freaking awesome with that. So it's
But then he
I
did
I
the
was
Superman punch.
hey, that's fine. That's cool with me. I was disappointed. I thought we were gonna see a Daniel Radcliffe Wolverine in there.
Oh, that would have been solid.
But I mean, they had so many cool ones. Like when I saw the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, I was like, yes, holy shit, they're
With the
doing this.
stump, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
freaking
like, no
awesome.
way. And then they did Patch.
Yeah,
Um,
that was cool. I thought that's who Cavill was supposed to be because I did
uh,
read some rumors that's like, oh yeah, he's gonna be uh the patch version of Wolverine. So fully expected him to turn around and be Henry Cavill or Daniel Radcliffe. But that was about the extent of everything. I kind of forgot about the whole Henry Cavill being in or like the rumors with him being in Wolverine
yeah,
because I just stopped paying attention to it. So it was really cool to see.
yeah.
But oh man, you've got all the cool suits. You got Hugh Jackman as those variants of Wolverine and
You even
you
got
know for
Old Man
most of them.
Logan.
Yeah, yeah. But that short King Wolverine, hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny. That's funny.
Absolutely so ridiculous to see a short Wolverine. And Wade's just like, oh, yep, not this one. It's not you, it's me. I'm out of here. I'll see you
Was that the
later.
only one that also wanted Danny DeVito Wolverine?
No, I don't want to see that.
Oh, come on.
It's the stupidest fucking idea. It's a
Nope.
funny picture and a funny meme online, but stupidest idea. Like you
No,
might as well. You should have just gotten like Mac Danzig to do it because I don't know if he's still like as ripped as he was, but he was rumored to be Wolverine at one point.
could have got Taron Egerton to do it too.
I would have loved that.
Roll out the red carpet.
Still think Taron Egerton should be Wolverine. He has Hugh Jackman tie-ins, so they made Eddie the Eagle together, and I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
they did one other movie together, but I can't remember. Um, but yeah, it's I don't know, but I don't think that matters right now because Hugh Jackman will be Wolverine until he's 90, just
Yeah,
like Ryan
that's what they
Reynolds
said.
said.
That's what they said. I definitely think that there's some of those you wanted to just see more of, right? You wanted to see some of the Hulk fight. You wanted to see more of the
Yeah,
Old Man Logan stuff, right? Like is cool. The whole crucified Wolverine, I was like, whoa, we're
but it was
fucking
it was
in it,
so funny
man.
though. Like that's such a serious
Yeah.
comic panel or cover, and it was almost like laughable as he's just sitting there, like just crucified, like it's like, why is this going on so long? Like this is
Yeah.
ridiculous. But yeah, I'll watch the outtakes of all the different variant clips and make that a movie or make that like the next Marvel assembled for Deadpool and Wolverine. Like I would
I
love
mean,
that.
but
That'd be
that's
so
the
cool.
thing that I want to see when I rewatch it. Like I'm rewatching it for the Easter eggs, the variants, the differentiation, the way that it was put together is the thing that I have the biggest problem with, right? The way that they
But
pieced it together.
before we go into that though, since we're talking about the variants of Wolverine, what was your favorite variant?
I dug seeing the brown suit. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah,
it looked way better than I ever thought it could look,
yeah.
right? Because I remember that from like the toys and the early comics. So that was sweet. Um, the Old Man Logan, I love that comic run. I think that was pretty sweet. But just seeing all of them was cool. What about you? You're all on
Apocalypse,
Cavalry?
Age of Apocalypse, Wolverine, the best. That was so freaking cool to see because you never would have thought, I never thought I would see that in this movie. So the fact that they had that on there, so cool. I mean, the brown and yellow suit was pretty sweet with the Hulk in his claws as well.
Yeah.
That was really badass. But I would say that I was most awestruck by Age of Apocalypse. I was like nudging my son. I was like, it's Age of Apocalypse, Wolverine, Age of Apocalypse. But so we talked about the variants. I think we need to go naturally into the cameos, which we alluded to earlier. The first big cameo obviously came from Cavill, but how psyched were you when they were doing the whole Mad Max thing and you saw, the arm and the voice of Evans? And like I knew it was Evans before he did the whole
Yeah.
superhero landing,
Yeah.
right?
No, you knew it was Evans right away.
Oh my
At least
God.
we did. We knew it
Yeah.
was Evans.
I mean, Chris Evans, friend of the podcast.
Friend of the
So first
podcast,
off,
celebrated on
Chris,
Chris
so
Evans Day every year.
so glad you're doing so well for yourself and you made you made some time to cameo in this movie. But I thought that it was Cap for sure because you saw a little bit of the red on the arm. So I was
The
like,
red on
oh
the arm.
dude,
But as soon
this
as
is
he
awesome.
landed, I was like, there's a fantastic, they're driving the Fantastic Four car. I leaned over to my wife and I'm like, it's Johnny Storm.
I
It's
didn't
Johnny
see the
Storm.
Fantastic Four car
Yeah,
until
yeah. In
later
the Mad
on.
Max, they had the Red Skulls car. They had
Yeah.
the Mad Max, the Fantastic Four thing, and then some other bullshit. But I was like, oh, he's gonna flame on. This is gonna be great.
Yeah. That was pretty awesome too. And he's gonna say and like he nudges the katana sitting in Wolverine's
Yeah,
chest. He's gonna say it, Avengers, and he just says flame on. Oh, so awesome. And it made sense. So that was pretty cool that happened. But man, he was really going hard for that Boston accent, huh?
yeah. No, he definitely was. I mean,
He was
that's where he's
letting
from, though. That's his
full,
like
yeah.
actual. That's how he
But
sounds.
that's not his Johnny Storm.
No,
So
but
that's just where
nobody
I found
fucking
it a little bit
remembers his
funny.
Johnny Storm. His Johnny Storm was like 4 Johnny Storms ago at this point.
I remember it. Don't
I
you
do
remember it?
too. I
I
do
mean,
too. I remember how
next
bad it was.
next Chris Evans Day, I think it's gonna go back to Fantastic Four. But it was pretty sweet to see him. I'm surprised he was in it for as much as he was.
I thought it was going to be like a quick, done, kind of like Free Guy. I thought he'd
Yeah,
just come in and be like, oh, yeah, I'll do a thing. Not
yeah.
like that was multiple days of shooting.
The Fantastic Four suit looked good. Man,
It
it looked
did.
pretty freaking sweet.
It did.
So
It was totally there. And then to bring him back in the after credit scene as well,
so funny.
like
So funny.
just there, just there, and to get him to run that dialogue,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how you know Disney was just like, please do whatever you want. Chris Evans, we'll pay him. Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
know him. We
Yeah,
know him.
there's no morality clause for Evans on this movie, so it's fine. Just
No,
let it fly.
no.
Let him talk about getting a cinnamon ring licked, just go for it.
Yeah, no. We will not yell language here.
I knew once he said that, like when Deadpool said, there's going to be a lot of language, and it's like, oh shit, that's Evans. That's Captain America
Yeah.
Evans.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's when I got super geeked about it. And I was still geeked about it, but I was laughing that like, holy shit, they brought back Johnny Storm, the worst of the Fantastic Four. And just like, yeah, it was, I shouldn't say the worst, but
No, not
um,
the worst. Not the
yeah,
worst. Alba was the worst.
no longer a friend of the podcast because of
Yeah.
you. But
Yeah. Well, God, sorry, ruined your chances, buddy.
yeah. So the X-Men villains. All right. So speaking of the whole Mad Max thing, like you get to see quite a bit of X-Men villains from the previous movies. Not the same actors playing them necessarily. Pyro's back, Toad, Azazel, Deathstrike, Juggernaut in a not Vinnie Jones actor who's playing him. That actor was like ripped, and I was like, okay, cool. At least they got like a realistic looking Juggernaut as opposed to Vinnie Jones in a muscle suit. Anyone else that you saw that you were like, ooh, this person looks cool, and it's good to see them.
The saber tooth. I was when I saw it in the trailer, I was like, I thought that was Lee
Oh,
Driver.
was he in the trailer?
Yeah, the that's the last trailer I saw was the one where
Uh,
Sabretooth was in it. And that's when I was
oh,
like,
I,
I need to stop fucking watching trailers because I'm gonna get they're just gonna spoil the whole thing.
I
So
must have
I
skipped
knew
out
that
on that trailer.
yeah, I knew Sabretooth was in it. And I was like, wasn't that Liev Schreiber? And then I remembered, oh no, this is like X-Men 1 Sabretooth.
Yeah,
Tyler Mane Sabretooth.
I was hoping they're gonna bring back Liev Schreiber in as a variant. That would have been pretty sweet. But
Yeah.
the thing that really bothered me about that part is Wolverine and Sabretooth are supposed to always have epic showdowns. And what happened? He just one shots him.
I loved that. I loved that it was just a different Wolverine. It was a Wolverine that was nope, I'm just gonna fucking kill you.
Wolverine and Sabretooth always battle toe to toe all the time, and Sabretooth holds his own. So we've never had a good all out brawl Wolverine versus Sabretooth. And I'm beginning to think I don't think we ever will.
X-Men Origins, like they had some pretty good ones in that.
That shit sucked.
Oh,
That sucked.
that's where you and
Fingernails of a
I
bag lady, and he was a
fingernails
little
for
too
a bag lady.
animalistic. I did like Wolverine's kind of his crouch down approach and his animalistic movement. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't and I will say Wolverine Origins is kind of a guilty pleasure because it's just kind of funny to me. That Sabretooth battle or lack thereof. It's cool to see Wolverine be like a stone cold killer and efficient, right? But I want to see that all out brawl, all out battle, and I didn't get it. Hugh Jackman isn't 90 yet, so maybe we'll get something, but I'm beginning to think we're never gonna see a legit, like almost like a Deadpool Wolverine battle with Sabretooth and Wolverine.
Dude, Ray Park back as Toad. Darth
Yeah.
Maul is in this movie.
I was hoping for Deadpool to reference like that stupid line, what happens when a toad struck by lightning?
Yeah,
And like I
yeah.
was hoping for him to just make fun of that. Like, I can't believe you took part of that shit. Like that would have been so funny because that was a perfect opportunity to just shit on the stupid dialogue in the previous movies. But yeah, I mean, there's so many other people that I would have thought that they would have incorporated into the X-Men. I thought they would have gotten a few of the other X-Men, like Sean Ashmore as Iceman or something like that, but I don't know. It's
Yeah, no other
I'm
real X-Men in this.
Yeah. I am surprised that they did show Colossus, because I figured like, oh, maybe they'll just leave him out just for the hell of it. But
Yeah,
it was kind of cool that they did put him back in, not in a fighting capacity, but
no.
it was good to see the old people back.
Yeah.
Anyone that you were surprised in terms of the cameos?
Um I dug the fact that they brought back the Juggernaut and stuff like that. I was confused on Cyclock because I think that was Cyclock in it, but it wasn't Olivia Munn.
No.
So it
It,
was
I
like they did so much work to get the originals. They even had the original Deathstrike, Lady Deathstrike in it.
Was that her?
Kelly Hugh, I think it was.
Oh wow. I didn't She looked different, but then again, it's also been like
It's
20
like
years
20
since.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
looked good if that's the case, because I thought they just got like a younger actress. So
But they
Kelly
got
Hu,
Pyro back.
fantastic.
They got so many back, but they didn't do yeah, that was definitely Kelly Hugh.
Okay,
Um,
cool. Well,
but yeah,
hey,
they
Kelly
didn't
Hu, you look great. If you want to be a friend of the podcast, I just complimented you on your youth, so fantastic.
Way to hit on Kelly Hugh. Sure that she is excited about it. Um, the Nightcrawler, the red Nightcrawler.
Azazel.
Yeah, yeah.
So for all the Marvel nerds, you can correct me on this one. Azazel, who was in X-Men First Class, was rumored to be Nightcrawler's father in the comics, and that was confirmed for like the longest time. And then they retconned it that it wasn't his dad, and so like Mystique just lied to him that like, yeah,
They had
that's
to
not your
fix
father.
it. They had to
Yeah.
fix it. Oh man. The now that's just the X-Men cameos, right? That and of course Evans, tip of the cap. What about the like the good guy alliance, the underground people? Were you shocked as I was at some of the people they brought into this?
Okay, so I knew Jennifer Garner was going to be in it, even though she said no.
How did
I
you know
knew that
Jennifer Garner was going to be in it?
it was some headline that it was just like, yep, she was on set or something like that, or there were pictures or whatever.
I
So
mean,
I
good for
knew that
her
she
for
was going to
getting
be in
back
it.
in the Elektra suit.
Yeah, she
Jennifer
looked.
Garner, if you want to be friend of the podcast,
I will say, and I'll catch shit for this. I actually liked the Elektra movie better than the Daredevil Fox movie because
well,
I thought that Daredevil Fox movie just sucked ass.
yeah, no, you're like you just said you liked a hamburger, like a no frills, nothing on it, dry hamburger, better than shit on a shingle.
I also really liked Jennifer Garner at that time because that was like at the peak of Alias. So I just thought she was like this ass kicker anyways. So I was like, oh cool, Jennifer Garner. And then she got did dirty in the Daredevil, excuse me, in the Daredevil movie. And then in Elektra, like that movie sucked hard. But at the same time, okay, I think I like this better because I like Jennifer Garner. And so that's why I was just like, yeah, this is better than Daredevil. That's fine. But holy shit, dude. Wesley Snipes walking in as Blade. How
I was
freaking
in it.
mind blown were you?
I was fucking in it. But I was so pissed he didn't have his sword. You got to have the blade sword. But yes, the so that and the fact that they can't pull off the new Blade movie, but they can get fucking Wesley Snipes to come back in with the little gray and the soul patch and
Yeah.
just fucking slice up motherfuckers.
It
Let's
was
go.
so funny where he's like, but there's only one blade. And then Deadpool just looks over at the camera. It's like, well, maybe, maybe
For
not.
now,
But
for now.
yeah, yeah. That
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 was
totally surprised me. And I was just like, holy shit. Like, yeah, he looks skinnier and he doesn't have as much muscle as he used to.
well, yeah, because
Wesley
he's like,
Snipes can still pull it
how
off.
fucking old is Wesley Snipes now,
Yeah.
though?
He's got to be like 60.
Oh
But I
man,
mean, he
no,
can
hang
pull it
on, hang
off.
on. Wesley Snipes was born in 1962.
Okay.
So yeah,
So
he's
60
62.
something.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not
Yeah.
wrong.
The math is mathing up for me. I
I
don't know
don't
what.
math. One plus one is two. Good job.
Wait, did you
Um,
think he was older or
I thought he
younger
was in
than
his
the 60s?
70s. I thought he was in his 70s.
Oh
I
my,
thought he was a
oh,
little older than
Jesus
that.
Christ. He looked like he was in his 70s in Coming to America, but that's Coming to America. But
Yeah,
other than
but I mean,
that,
I thought he was at the same age as like Stallone, and
oh
I mean,
no. No.
Stallone's 78
Yeah.
at this point, right? So I mean, I thought he was in that Stallone and Arnold area because that's when he was kind of big, right? The early 90s, right? Like Drop Zone and shit
It's
like that.
but
Passenger
he
57.
was the young hotshot.
He
So
was. He
that's
was.
where,
But
oh
like
man.
young in Hollywood is still like 40 at this point, right?
Now it is, right? Because
Yeah.
all of our favorite action stars and movie stars are 40 at least, I think. So
Yeah, I mean
I think
like
Hemsworth is the only one that hasn't hit 40 yet. So
which Hemsworth?
well, the one that matters.
Hemsworth
So
was born in 83, so he is over 40.
is
I
he
mean,
40?
Glenn Powell's 35 and he's like brand new.
Glenn Powell, yeah. Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell, future friend of the podcast.
Oh,
Uh
dude, we got to watch, you got to see Twisters.
I heard that it's good and I want to see it because I didn't care about the first one. I just like Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones, so I'll watch it because of them
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
no. Stay tuned for future podcasts, possibly
Yes.
Twisters.
That Blade cameo, holy shit. Mind blown. And then it gets even more amped up when Channing Tatum walks in, full gambit. What were your thoughts when that happened?
I was like, why is Channing Tatum's neck so fat? Like,
He
do better with this costume. Like, I'm not a small man, but Channing Tatum is a like, svelte, tight, strong man. They like jammed him in a turtleneck for that. I
it
was like, whoa, Channing Tatum.
that was my
And
thought was it's Channing Tatum looks more like Channing Fathom,
yeah,
like that's just
and they like asked him to do his Hispanic accent from 22 Jump Street. Jose,
Hispanic accent.
it was like Channing Tatum can't do accents because that
Dude,
Cajun was so hilarious. It was
are you
so bad.
serious?
It was so bad.
What?
It was so bad.
Oh my God, it was good. It was solid. What are you
I'll
talking
tell you
about?
what, I'm almost here. That's
I
what it
thought it was
sounded like
good.
to me. Oh, it was bad. It was hilariously bad. Oh, yeah, I make a boom.
I think it was good, and it was hilarious the fact that Deadpool is just like, I don't understand a single thing that you're saying.
Yeah,
Like,
he
I think
sounded like
that's
Farmer Fran from The Water Boy. I want you to want the cops go boom.
oh no, I don't, I don't think so about that at
Oh
all
man, it was so
whatsoever.
bad. It was bad in a hilarious way. Like when he was the gimp in that in
This is the end.
This Is the End.
Hey
Hey
guys, what's up?
guys. Hey, what's up? This it was I think that was the cameo where somebody's just like, whatever, I'll just show up and do it.
I had a harder problem with Evan's Boston accents than I did with Channing Tatum's Cajun
Oh,
accent. I
no.
thought, for the record, I'll say right now, Channing Tatum's accent, great. I had doubts when they were talking about him coming in as Gambit, but if we could go back in time and I could have heard like him trying to attempt, like a Remy LeBeau Cajun accent, I would have bought it. I would have been like, sign this fucker up. What are we waiting for? Make the movie. But yeah, I had no problem with him. I was happy to see him, but I was thinking like, couldn't you have done something different with the costume? Like, did you have to have super comic accurate Gambit? He did the card thing. That was pretty sweet. And I was all for it. I was happy to see it.
The cards, so let me talk about the card thing. So I always understood Gambit's power as charging the cards with kinetic energy, and then when they made contact with anything, the kinetic energy would create an explosion. It seemed like in this instance, like he telekinesis those cards wherever he wanted and like would tuck them in somebody's pocket and then decide when they explode. Was that just me that saw that? Like
No,
it was a little non like not to pick nits. Like this was obviously meant to be somewhat farcical and over the top. But
I don't think that was supposed to be farcical or over the top. I think that's somewhat accurate because they play fast and loose with the powers, depending on the writers. But
yeah,
there have been times in the comics, or I'm sorry, the '92 cartoon that he charged something and then it blew up. I think he did that to Wolverine one time. But yeah, I didn't no problems with it. I had no problems with it at all. I understand where you're coming from that because
yeah,
that makes sense. But also, here's another nerd fact for Marvel is the fact that Gambit is supposed to be one of the most powerful mutants out there too. So like they over the years, because he became so popular, they just completely uber powered this guy and like it's kind of ridiculous how powerful he is. The last of the person that actually picked up Deadpool and Wolverine to bring him back to the little the Fox dream team, if you will. X-23, Laura, as a young woman. Kind of crazy to see. But that I knew she was gonna be in it because as I was, posting on Instagram for the podcast and everything, I saw her at the premiere. I was like, you don't go to premiere like that when you're that closely associated with them unless you're in the movie.
yeah.
So I knew that she was gonna be in. Did you know that she was in it?
No, but I was stoked to see her. Like she's awesome.
I love the fact too that she still did like her animalistic yell that she did like a
Yeah.
million times in Logan. But hey, the finishing touch that was awesome. I was kind of hoping to see like an X-23 suit, but the finishing touch was the kid glasses. Oh
Yeah.
God, that
They
was
brought it
sweet.
all. But Daphne Keene, right? Daphne
Yep.
Keene,
Hmm.
she was just in the Acolyte
Yeah.
and did that badass fight scene in there too, like as the as that Padawan. So I think that she's been I like her. I would love to see them bring that character into stuff,
I mean,
but I'd watch her and stuff.
she's still in that timeline at the end of the movie, and same thing with Wolverine. So I hope, I really, really hope they do something with her. And obviously, I think Hugh Jackman is going to be somewhat of a staple in, Secret Wars when that comes out. But I don't know. We'll see what happens when with all those people because, when they were asking, or when Wade was asking at the end of the movie, hey, I almost, I promised some of these people that helped us get here. Like, is there anything you could do for them? It's like, I'll see what I can do. I was like, oh, is this leaving the door open for Blade, for Elektra, for X-23? Like, that would be pretty sweet. I didn't think anything of Channing Tatum. Like, I don't think we'll see him again, but
I do not
I'm
know
okay.
Moshe. I don't know what to go. I'm beignets.
I'm okay if he is, but I love the fact that they had Laura in at the end of the movie.
Channing Tatum was so it was an over the top thing for me. But that was the good parts for me. Like seeing the cameos and that the squishiness around those battles really I was not a big fan of. Like it almost felt like I don't want to say too long of a battle, but like you remember the original Avengers, how the battle for New York was like 25 minutes.
Yeah, it
That
was
was
awesome.
it was too much. Too much for me at least.
Awesome.
And then the big boss, the
I'm
big bad they brought into this
hold on.
was
Let me
what
rewind back there. So you're saying in a comic book movie, you don't want to see comic book fights,
I do want to see comic book fights, but I want it to be like I want to
not
zoom in
like a
and
comic
see
book fight.
no, but in comic books you see like two characters intertwined in some level of fighting where they break it up. Like I said, like in Civil War, when they did the fight at the airport, it was great because you got to see exposition in like zoom ins in the fight, right? Like you went from here, then you zoomed out and saw that one, then you got to see the different battles within the battle. This was just like, look at the battle,
Oh,
and that
this movie, yeah.
yeah,
But you were saying in the Avengers
the
that
original
that
Avengers was still kind of a little bit, but it was
Mhm.
also because it was it was like character and then a bunch of Chitari that we don't give a shit about, right? Like in this movie, in the way that in this movie, the way it could have been, like it was in Civil War, where you've got these two personalities and characters that we know, and like good actors, you can bring it together and do so much more with it. At least that was my thought. It was just squishy to me. It was squishy.
Yeah.
And the big bad in this also was kind of fucked to me. Like I'm old apparently because I had no fucking idea who Cassandra Nova was. Like I'm Xavier's twin sister. Like the fuck you mean Xavier? There's no. Where is that? And I had to Google it when I got home,
I
right? And I
can't
read about it, and
I
I
can't
get
wait
it.
for the
But
Marvel nerds to come after you. Like, this guy says he's a fan. He's never read a comic book, apparently, because Cassandra Nova. Like, I can
Cassandra
already
Nova
see
came out
this
in 2001 and
in issue
started
24.
in Uncanny X-Men 762, page 7,
Oh man. By the
paragraph
way,
3.
I appreciate all of the knowledge from all the different movies and comics and everything that we reference when someone chimes in with that stuff. Except for the Star Wars fans, a lot of the Star Wars fans are just super toxic. I have not had a Marvel fan say anything really bad. There have been a few DC people that have been like, "This guy's never played Injustice 2." Like, no, I haven't. That's why I don't know this character. But yeah. Anyways, Marvel fans, it seems like you guys are so much more nicer about things, but we'd love to hear your input on our lack of knowledge about Cassandra Nova.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't read New X-Men 114 in July of 2001.
So you didn't like her as a character at all.
I like, I'm sure if I understood her character, I would have liked her more. But every other cameo character, we have some level of emotional attachment to. I know that one. Oh, yeah, right there. Member berries. And then the alpha is like, who the fuck is this? Like, if you reference back the Loki episode that was mentioned when they're all in this area, it's a bunch of Lokis in different forms that we recognize, right?
Sure.
I don't know who this person is. There are so many overpowered mutants that you could have brought into this, so many baddies that you could have tapped that like I get that she's the opposite of Xavier. Like I get that. Do better is all I'm saying. Like I don't know this person. It has not been touched in any other Fox property at all. You have so many baddies you could have gotten from Fox properties.
Emma Corrin, who plays Cassandra Nova, uh, they did an awesome job. I like that portrayal of the villain. So they did fantastic. So I'm all about it. It's too bad. I'm assuming that they're dead, but like I would like to see them come back in some capacity. Even if they're just like, an anti-hero or one of those people, like an unwilling villain that is still going to help out the heroes down the road. Because there's going to be like a big bad that needs to be taken down with a conjoined force of some bad guys and some good guys. So I'm all for that later on down the road. Did you think that you were going to see a Charles Xavier variant?
No, I would have. I mean, we could have done that. You could have done. Um, what was the? You could have done like Onslaught, which was an Xavier kind of thing. But there's so many other X-Men characters you could have gotten, right? I mean, you could have done Mr. Sinister.
I think they're going to wait for that for an actual movie, though.
Could have done Omega Red, which is like a Wolverine one. You could have done.
Yeah, Omega Red was in Deadpool too, though.
Yeah, that's true. Could
It
have
was
done
it was like a
Strife.
throwaway cameo, but yeah, they're
Was
there.
Strife in Deadpool too?
No.
Could have
I,
done.
I like I like how Ryan Reynolds put in the little jab at Josh Brolin, saying like, yeah, he just didn't test well with the testing audience. Like, I don't think that was the case, but it's funny that he did that just to shit on him in a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a because I have no recognition or understanding of Cassandra Nova. There's so many classics that you could have went to that that's where my biggest challenge was. And there's so many good Wolverine villains that you could have went to.
I'm understanding of where you're coming from, but at the same time, whoever they were going to put as a villain in here needed to be imposing, but also needed to not be missed, right? Because Cassandra Nova isn't as well known as some of the others, like Sinister, Apocalypse, whoever else that you want to go down the list. Because they're not as known. Sorry for the Marvel fans, don't come at me, but she's not as known as others. I'm okay with that because you're gonna kill that villain. You're not gonna see that villain again. So do you want to throw away Mr. Sinister in that? No, you don't want to do that. Do you want to do Omega Red even? Like, no, I think that'd be a great future villain for the X-Men later on down the road. Like, hey, why not? But yeah, Cassandra Nova, just too. I have no problem with this villain, that selection. I do agree with you that because we don't know a lot about them, it's tough to be like, oh, this is kind of cool. It kind of almost falls into the whole Marvel villain dilemma, right? To where it's like, not a whole lot of juxtaposition or character building with this person. So it's just here's a villain. Here's a a cheap villain, but I think her performance helped outweigh some of that negative of not building enough character.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen even like Maestro, like the evolved Hulk with the beard.
Can't do it in
Like,
this one, man. Can't do it. They've
why?
they blew their wad for
Mm,
all of the cast and cameos and everything. Like you think you want to put, and even on some of the fight scenes, like there was some pretty there was some noticeable CGI in that. So I don't think they could have done a Hulk as a main villain.
mm,
Too much, too much money. Even Reynolds said like Evans took up a lot of that budget for the movie, so it's like we got to kill this guy off now. Uh,
mm. I
but
don't know.
I don't disagree with the fact that Cassandra Nova isn't as well known, and I respect your take on that villain. But
Well, thank you.
what what about the plethora of Deadpool that was in this movie? So you got Nice Pool. How funny is that? Just like, sorry, sorry about that. Just like going full Canadian, and he's just so nice
The
and so
proposal.
handsome. Oh yeah, oh great fourth wall break. I was laughing so hard at that point, and it's like no one else was because they probably didn't even realize that was a Ryan Reynolds movie. But holy shit. I love his execution and his creativity of just being able to throw that stuff in there because I know that he probably did that as an improv line. I don't know if someone else wrote that, but it's
Yeah.
good
No,
stuff.
it was funny. It was good. I am not as familiar with all of the different pools as there were, but there were a lot of them. There were many Deadpools. Um, I did. I thought Headpool was hilarious. Um, I just think that it was very like No Way Homey or not No Way Home. What's the animated one?
Oh,
Um,
across the
Across the
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse. Like I dug that, and I thought they at least gave some exposition to the random Deadpools. They gave more exposition to the random Deadpools in some cases than the the retread mutants that we saw. Um, I don't know about Mary Poppins. That was the creepiest looking dog I've ever seen.
I like Dogpool. I love dogs that have that tongue that just hangs out the side of their
Mm.
mouths. It's just so cute to me. It's so ugly but so cute at the same time. I'm all for it. And they had
I
that dog all over the place on the red carpet for the premiere.
Yeah, I bet. I am disappointed that they didn't unmask Lady Deadpool.
Which do you know who that was?
Blake Lively voiced. I don't know if she
Yeah.
got in the suit.
Yeah, I don't know if she did the suit either, but I had a feeling it was Blake Lively because she had a fantastic like Deadpool themed gown at the premiere. So I was like, I think that's I think that's her. So when I heard the voice, I was like, I'm like 95% sure that's her. So
Yeah, I thought the
um,
Gossip Girl joke was hilarious.
yeah, there's so many like just subtle one-liners that you're probably laughing from another part of the movie that you miss out on. So that's like kind of why I want to watch some of that stuff again.
Yeah, again, like
Because
I would watch it again. I'm just not like theater committed to it.
fair enough. You're not you. When's the last time you were like that? What's the last movie you saw multiple times in a theater?
God, that's a good question. Um,
I can name them. John Wick 4, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and Endgame were the last three movies that I saw multiple times in the theater.
yeah, I think Endgame and Rise of Skywalker were the last two I saw
You saw that
multiple
multiple
times.
times?
Yeah, it's a Star Wars movie, dude. It's never going back to
Gosh.
theaters, so might as well. And I had Movie Pass at the time.
Okay, at least
Movie
all right.
Pass, yes.
You've redeemed yourself just by saying that, but even some of the toxic
Or
Star
wait,
Wars fandom that's out there
I don't know if
would
I
just
had
be
Movie Pass.
like,
Movie Pass might have been dead at that point.
I don't know.
I know
Well,
I used to go multiple times with Movie
so
Pass.
now you're just a goddamn liar. So
It's
that's
Star Wars though. It's Star Wars.
apologize to the audience.
I'm
Damn
not
you.
sorry. I'm not sorry at all.
It's all right.
Um,
Neither are they because they
yeah,
attack us relentlessly in the comments
they,
for some of the most ridiculous things.
neither is he or she.
Oh man. Ugh. Ugh. All right, but back to the good fandom of Marvel that they're not so toxic. Um, yeah, I mean, when it came to like the final fight with the Deadpool core, when they all showed up, what were you thinking was going to happen at that point?
I thought they were going to all go and fight. I thought they were going to like do a team up,
That's what I thought too.
and it didn't.
But it is pretty sweet though that Wolverine and Deadpool teamed up, and he's like, "I get to kill 100 of you. I'm in." So
Yeah,
I thought that
yeah.
was pretty sweet.
That fight scene, like, I didn't need the bus. Like, it was funny, but it just kept going. It
That
just kept going. It was Tarantino-esque. It was
that's a
very Kill Bill.
perfect example of what I thought of like the action choreography got really stale
Yes,
because
that is a perfect way to say it. Is it just like, oh, so he's killing him the same way he did in the van,
all
and
the
we
time.
don't see, and again, like all these different variants of Deadpool, you don't get to see like their variant skills. It's just like I'm killing Deadpools over and
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah, and I mean, I love Hugh Jackman, and I love it when he goes animalistic as Wolverine. But
Yeah,
there's only so many times that I could see him doing the same
yeah. Just
jabbing.
finger blasting him with his
It's,
claws, right? It was just like ah, this is just
yeah,
it. This is just it. And I'm just like, come on, man, we need more. Given the mask came up, and I was on the mask. It was like two Batmans kissing. It was beautiful, but man, it was that I think was that moment where I wanted the theater to just erupt a little bit. You got the mask,
yeah.
and it
That
didn't.
was sweet that he did that right
Like
at that point.
that was the Mjolnir moment, right?
I
That was the
forgot that he even had a mask. I was just happy to see the suit. That was just really
yeah,
cool to see the
yeah.
suit. And then I forgot, like, oh yeah, they have like the whole, they
I didn't
sell
know
the
they had the
pendant
mask
of.
either. I had no idea.
Oh, you didn't? I knew they had. I just forgot because I was so happy to see Hugh Jackman. I was so happy to see the Wolverine costume that
Yeah,
I didn't even think about
dude, the
you
yellow
know,
worked though, didn't it?
the mask on the goddamn cup.
Yeah, in
I
the cup
forgot about.
and in the
So it's.
popcorn bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, the
Oh,
the
you mean this popcorn bucket right
yeah,
here? Yes.
that your amazing wife bought for you.
Yes, she's
She
great.
selflessly went out there and hunted it down for you.
Didn't even like she said, "Oh, the Deadpool popcorn bucket comes out today." I was like, "Yeah, that's kind of cool." And she's like, "Should I get it?" I was like, I mean, no, don't worry about it." And she came back with it. And I'm so glad that that's the bucket that she came back with and not the, Wolverine with his mouth open bucket because
I was so disappointed AMC didn't have that one for me today because I was going to buy it. I was
really
like, I'm just gonna sit on the podcast and eat this popcorn out of this bucket the whole time.
this is
And
a
they didn't have it.
beautiful popcorn bucket. Like that's why I was like, "Oh, this is cool. It's a cool decoration." I don't think that other one is like a cool decoration. I think it just looks fucking stupid.
Oh,
I
I
get
think
the
it's
joke.
hilarious.
I get the
I think it's
joke and it's
just really
funny.
funny.
Yeah, it's funny, but I'll take this 8 days a week. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, so we talked about the the Deadpool core a little bit, the plethora of Deadpools, the repetitive, as you would say, finger blasting, but at the same time, I got a little tired of it, and I was hoping to see a little bit more creativity in the fight scenes, and then Peter Pool comes up, and it's just like I was waiting for a Ryan Reynolds quip in there. It's like, well, this helps resolve, you know, whatever is supposed to have this. At least there's a quick resolution here, so we can get to the main baddie. And yeah, I think that was a lost opportunity. But it was kind of
It,
funny that everyone loves Peter, like every Deadpool, including Deadpool Prime, loves Peter so much that
did I
he goes to
miss
work with him.
something with that? Like,
Yeah, he is no powers in the second
I know
movie.
that. I
They're
saw the second movie.
okay, yeah. So they're putting the team together, and he just loves his charisma, and so his favorite person is Peter, and so he saves him when he goes back in time, and so I think that just carries on into this movie.
Hey.
Yeah, and he's just a funny guy. I thought he was really great in the most recent Home Alone movie too. So uh I like that actor. Solid comic performance from him, or comedic performance from him.
Oh man.
But lazy for sure. I don't think they could have resolved that unless they were just talking about, it's like, hey, there's like it would be even funnier if there was like a chimichanga food truck that drove by and then they all went nuts and went after it. They should have just done that. I would have been
There was a
perfectly
food
fine
truck
with
in the
that.
background. I
Did
thought they were
you
gonna do something.
did you see the shop that Wolverine and Deadpool got launched into? Liefeld's shoe store or whatever, something like that. It's like feet. So Rob Liefeld is the comic illustrator that created Deadpool, and this guy cannot draw feet. And there's some hilariously bad comic book covers that Liefeld drew. And so the fact that they bring a point to it and it's like Liefeld's and it's like feet specialist or whatever, it's like, oh, hilarious. Deep cut for any of the Marvel nerds out there, but so enjoyable. Did you catch that?
No. No, it wasn't a deep cut for me.
Yeah. It's
I saw Stan Lee on the side of the bus.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, while they're killing everybody on the bus, Stan was like a billboard on the side of the bus.
Oh, no kidding.
So Stan
Okay.
was in it.
That's cool. Very cool. Um when it came to the final resolution of like, oh, whoever whoever severs the circuit is going to die. Did you see that they were going to do a Guardians thing right there where both Wolverine and Deadpool?
No, no, I thought that the Deadpool thing he was gonna do it, and that I thought I did not see it coming, right? Because
Oh,
they
so you
did the
just thought he was going to
Madonna thing.
sacrifice himself.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna sacrifice himself
Huh.
because that's why he wasn't an Avenger, right? Because he didn't do it for everyone, he did it for him. So I thought that was how they were gonna resolve the character, but I honestly enjoy the way that they did it.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
When
Uh,
when Hugh Jackman just holds on to it, then his shirt just busts open.
blows off.
And
He's just super amped up. Did they use Channing Tatum for that too?
oh no, I'm pretty sure that Hugh Jackman is in better physical condition than Channing Tatum a majority of the time.
That doesn't
I just
surprise me.
think that that's just how it is. But oh man, that was so hilarious. And like, Wade looks at the camera and he's just like, mm-hmm. Like you don't even see his facial expressions,
Yeah,
but you know exactly what his facial expressions are underneath the mask.
yeah, yeah. No,
But
Ryan Reynolds mask acting top five all time. Like does a like you don't need this. Like Ryan Reynolds is a very physical comedic actor from a facial expression. Like all of those
yeah,
movies, he does a great job with just the mask. And
yeah.
I think that there's only a few movies that I've seen with the mask where I'm just like, this actor is killing it with this mask. Adam Driver in The Force Awakens, I thought owned the mask.
I mean, if you could understand what the fuck he was saying, sure.
Yeah,
But
that but just the way he handled acting with the mask, I thought was good. And the Deadpool thing, like Ryan Reynolds does it effortlessly.
yeah, agreed. Agreed. As we're kind of coming to the end of like the actual movie itself, has anything Martha you in this entire movie?
Um, Christina Nova and the
Cassandra.
squishy what Cassandra Nova,
Cassandra.
whatever that fucking bitch, and just the squishy fight scenes,
Okay.
just
Fair
squishy fight
enough.
scenes,
But
just
that's so it's Marthaing you. That is like I can't stand it.
I
Or
was
like this
like
is
ready to
ridiculous.
fall asleep. It was
Okay.
bad. I was just like, there's not. This is just continuously thinging. Why do we keep thinging?
The only thing that and I can't really say that it legitimately marthed me, but the thing that I would eye roll about is the excessive music that was used. Now, I knew
What?
as a Deadpool movie that this was going to have a bunch of songs in there for comedic use, right? Like I totally get that. But yeah, I mean it gets to a point for me that's like, this is almost going Suicide Squad on me, and that's not a good thing. Like that was the first movie that I rolled so much during the music that was used for it.
No,
Uh,
the soundtrack of this was one of the most redeeming parts.
Agree to disagree. I mean,
Oh man.
do you need Avril Lavigne in there?
Yes. That is so it was hilarious.
I
It
don't know.
was hilarious. Go you're talking about the somewhere new the bye 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 scene. Are you
I thought that was
kidding
funny. That
me?
was fine.
That
That
was
was fine.
awesome.
But
The
there's just so much of it that's in the movie. That's where it's like that's the only thing that kind of marthed me to where I was like, it's a little too much. I mean, I get it. And the different variations of Like a Prayer, I get it. I get it. And it's it is what it is,
the
right?
power
I
of the
know
Huey
it's
Lewis when he's traveling around and he does
that was
Huey
great.
Lewis.
Great. No, it's great. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, there's just a point where it's too much. And, when you have like Goo Goo Dolls Iris in there, like I get it. It was really popular in the 90s and everyone loved it. I had an ex-girlfriend that loved that song, probably still loves
Mm.
it to this day, but oh man. Like I just a lot of the songs used for it was just songs that I didn't like. So that's probably part of the reasoning as to why that I'm just like, yeah, this kind of falls a little bit flat for me. I didn't hate it, but it was just like, I've had enough. I'm okay with cutting a few songs short, you
Oh
know?
my God. I some of the best Easter eggs in this movie were the songs. The fact that they had the greatest showman hit while they were fighting in the minivan was amazing. And the fact that they fought to Grease was
I hated it. I hated it.
I that was one of the only fight scenes I was like, this is kind of hilarious.
Yeah. Not a fan of using pointless popular music in
Oh,
certain spots. I get it
you're
if
a
it's like
hater.
adding to like the whole ironic ironic setting of the scene, but like no, it's just you're throwing in a song that just happens to be poppy and catchy, and I'm just not into all of it. I'm
Let
into
me
a lot
guess.
of it.
Let me guess. You also hated the Fox movie Green Day uh, uh,
Yeah,
credit scene
I don't like
that
that
was a
song.
direct reflection of like the year that we graduated high school, and
Yeah,
every it was just like full on senior banquet right there.
yeah, didn't like that song back then. Don't like it now. So
Oh,
yeah.
you go to hell.
I would have, you know what? You want to talk about some of those songs? I would have been fine with Here's to the Night by Eve 6. Put that
Oh,
on there. I would have loved that more. I get it. Green Day's the more popular band, and that's the more popular song. Totally understand it, but I'm just saying my opinion. Don't like that song as a whole. I can tolerate it, but yeah.
you're a hater.
It was a
You're
it was a
such a
good it was a
hater.
good send off for Fox on that with that song. So but it is kind of funny. Good
Oh.
riddance, you know. It's like, all right, see you. See you later. Thanks for the service. But hey, as we come to the end of this episode, I do have a question for you.
Mm.
When it comes to Deadpool and Wolverine, can you do this all day?
So I came out of this movie as a hard no. I came out of the theater as a hard like with levels of disappointment that were very high because I walked in with non-Deadpool expectations. Remember earlier I said I really wish I would have watched Deadpool 1 or 2 before this to recenter around what a Deadpool movie is versus like comparing everything to Endgame or Ragnarok or Civil War. Like comparison is the thief of joy in this situation where I walked out of the theater not feeling that way. having had this conversation and revisiting some of the areas, I'm a little less disappointed in the movie. So I'm very borderline. I need to see it again and really love it for it to be a yes. I feel like this is falling into the Deadpool 2 bucket for me, where it's like a every other year watch it kind of thing, not a, oh, I'm going to turn this movie on and just love it the whole way through kind of thing for me, which is disappointing because I am a sleeper on like all of the Wolverine movies. But the lack of story and the soft fights and the character I don't give a shit about at all as the main bad is the thing that makes me say no.
Interesting. Huh. Okay.
I feel like you have a different opinion, so I'm going to ask you when it comes to Deadpool and Wolverine, can you and all of your merch do this all day?
All right, so I'll break it down like I usually do. When it comes to the music, it had some highlights. It was great to hear Huey Lewis, and yeah, I appreciated the NSYNC song as well. But I even like the use of like a prayer. But the music got a little bit long in the tooth for me, just like some of the repetitive action sequences for the fights. When it came to like the nostalgia of everything, I mean, the music and the nostalgia played very high for me. It was great to see Hugh Jackman. Oh my gosh, it was great to see Hugh Jackman. But
Yes.
think about Wesley Snipes, Jennifer Garner, Channing Tatum in as those characters, even though Channing Tatum never really got a shot. He got his
Oh,
shot in this movie, and I loved it. So that was really cool. And of course, Daphne Keene is Laura was awesome to see. But yeah, they really pulled out a lot of the stops and got a lot of the old actors back for the villains for like the whole Mad Max thing. And Jesus Christ, Evans. Holy shit, Chris Evans is Johnny Storm, arguably the worst of the Fantastic Four, but at the same time, so cool. And we love Chris Evans, so deal with it.
we do.
But I will say that I can do this all day for sure. And it's even though there's a lot of things that I have against it, it's because I'm being very picky because people are always going to be picky about these movies. And I do this and I really, you know, center my pickiness around my support for the MCU, Disney, and Kevin Feige as they go forward with any type of Marvel property. But this was just a good time. And when we're at a time in the world right now where sometimes good times are a little bit hard to come by, when you go to a movie theater and you have people laughing, cheering, having a good time, eating some popcorn, drinking some beverages, it's fantastic for me. So yes, I can do this all day. Shame on you, Mark, for not being able to do this all day.
Shame on me.
But I thought they did a good job humanizing the characters, and it was a fun time. It was a good time to go see at the movies with the family. And yes, I did take the family along with my 10 and 6-year-old to hear the plethora of F-bombs and the violence. So,
Daddy, what's
but
a
hey,
cinnamon ring?
I, they haven't asked about it yet. So, but hey,
They Urban
that
Dictionary that
wraps
shit.
that wraps up our episode. We've got the Deadpool and Wolverine review, spoiler heavy. If you've gotten it this far, hey, thank you for listening to us. But until next time, I'm Dan the Part-Time Avenger. That's Mark the Resident Jedi.
Like and subscribe. Tell us what you thought. Can you do this movie all day? Hit us on our socials. I can do this all day podcast across the board. Let us know if there is a better villain than Cassandra Nova, because we all know there is.
We'll see you next time, everyone.